Turning now to a wrap of your top stories of the day. Right now, Randall police are asking for your help to find a missing teen. Take a look at your screen. This is 17-year-old Chloe Whitener. She was last seen at her home on Lewis Road. Her family thinks she left the house sometime after 9 Monday night. If you've seen her, call that number on your screen.
Good Wednesday morning. In just a little over an hour, the campus will again pause to reflect here at UNC Charlotte on the day 6 years ago when a gunman walked into a class, taking the lives of 2, hurting 4 others, and affecting the lives of everyone who is part of Niner Nation. Wreath laying ceremonies will take place twice today in honor of all of those students who were affected on Niner Nation.
We now know that South Carolina's Limestone University will close. The Board of Trustees making that decision at a meeting last night. Officials say the school couldn't get the $6 million it needed to stay open for the fall. However, graduation ceremonies will still be held this Saturday.
And taking you out on the roads now, live like outside I-77 at Westinghouse Boulevard. Those northbound lanes starting to get packed with traffic, and especially further down York County, I-77 at Gold Hill Road, starting to see the same thing. Good news is, though, definitely don't need a jacket as you step outdoors this morning. Chris?
Feeling like mid-June, even a little sticky today. Upper 80s before we cool down. Best chance for rain looking to be Saturday.
Going straight from April to June, it feels like.
I know, what a jump.
A reminder, the news doesn't end here. We're live all day with breaking news, weather, and traffic.
On WCNC Plus, join us.
Streaming live right now at 7 a.m. right here on WCNC Plus. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington. We are halfway to the weekend, but some showers could put a damper on your weekend plans. Chris has the details in our weather impact forecast.
Yeah, I didn't like coming in this morning and see that the front slowed down even more than before. And what that means is that it looks like it might last a little bit longer and has passed through the Carolinas on Saturday, and that'll trigger more rain. But there's a little optimism. I'll get to that in a little bit. We have upper level clouds across the sky, really a bunch of different colors here on our Dallas camera. Gorgeous sky. Now the sun has already been up for about 30 minutes, and you see a lot of contrails too because we're looking not too far from the airport as well. 63 degrees right now. That's likely our low for the morning unless we visited 62 for a brief moment. 62 is your temperature in Boone, Hickory, and Salisbury. A little thicker cloud covers keeping things nice and mild in Boone, and a little bit of a more clear sky keeping things a little bit cooler. 56 degrees in Morganton. Our muggy meter, hate to see it return, but as long as you have a dew point that's at 60 plus, you're feeling it. It's going to feel a little sticky. So lower to the mid 60s will be kind of the norm going forward in the next few days. But today looks to be a little bit muggier, a little stickier than the next couple of days. 88 degrees though is the warmest temperature though. If we had 88 degrees, that will match our warmest temperature of the year so far. We did that earlier on April 5th this year. And then our futurecast winds also showing that today is going to be another breezy one. Yesterday, we had a strong push of the winds out of the south and southwest. We're going to feel it again today. Gusts up to about 20 miles per hour. Tomorrow, a little bit stronger, gusts to about 25, and that'll be the same scenario for you Friday. So it's a mix of cloud and sunshine scenario. We have a breezy forecast. Oh, yeah, and there's a chance for rain each and every day. But not everyone's going to see it. We saw this last week. Even though there was a chance of rain every day, you likely were either dry or barely saw any. That's going to start the scenario really over the next 3 days. I think the best chance for rain is right along the I-40 corridor from Taylorsville to Morganton up in the mountains. This starts about the middle of the afternoon. I'm calling after 2, but I think it's close to about 4 to 8 that we see most of the activity. And by the late evening, heading to about midnight, we're gone. That rain is out of here. Rainfall chances will be very isolated for your Thursday and Friday, but which one of these days don't go together? One really sticks out like a sore thumb. Likely rain chances on Saturday. So I don't think you have a lot of activity going on for your Thursday, for your Friday. We need more moisture, especially because of how drought-stricken our area is. It's this front, once it collides in here, and now this is long-range data, so we don't have a lot of detail, but right now, one model is showing that maybe we could have a wet morning to afternoon, potentially some storms along that, but it clears just enough off towards the east. Not saying it's clear sky, but maybe give a break for the Love and Life concert, also for Kendrick and SZA. So we're really going to see how things pan out. But the big change that I'm seeing is this front doesn't leave. It pretty much says, hey, Charleston's nice. I just want to hang out here for a little bit. Then maybe I'll go to Savannah. That's going to be the case scenario for your Sunday and Monday. That's going to keep clouds around. That's also going to keep our rain chances around a little bit longer. Over the next 5 days, how much rain could we see? Well, not a lot. Most of that rain is going to fall on Saturday heading into Sunday morning. I think some areas see up to an inch plus, but a lot of the areas seeing less than an inch. Guy Roofing 7-day forecast. This is the top, people. We have the upper 80s, feeling like the middle of June, and also that sticky factor. Back to around 80 degrees on Saturday, and then once that front passes, we will dry out a little bit. It will feel less humid as well, with high temperatures in the mid to the upper 70s, back into the lower 80s again, the middle of next week. It is the time of the morning that traffic starts to pick up. What so far has been a wonderful Wednesday, Becca.
Yeah, not looking too bad out there. Don't want to jinx us, but as we take a live look outside from I-77 over towards York County, I'd say one of the slow spots this morning will be as you pass Gold Hill Road. So drivers traveling northbound from York County towards Mecklenburg County, this is the kind of traffic that you'll be dealing with, although no reports of an incident or accident on the major interstates and highways over there. So good news. Live look outside from I-77 at West Boulevard, also looking slow as those northbound drivers approach the uptown area. Want to get to a couple of problem spots out there, and there's not many. We've got a crash still being reported over towards northern Mecklenburg County, and this is being reported on the outer loop ramp on 485 once you get from Benfield or Prosperity Church Road. Again, taking that ramp to get onto 485, seeing some slowdowns associated with that. Then over towards the Charlotte Douglas Airport, got a crash being reported at Josh Birmingham Parkway at Hartley Avenue. Drive safe, y'all.
Randall police need your help to find a missing teen. Take a look at your screen. This is 17-year-old Chloe Whitener. She was last seen at her home over on Lewis Road. Her family thinks she left the house sometime after 9 Monday night with black pants on, a black sweatshirt, and white Nikes. If you've seen her, please call the number there on your screen. We're learning new details this morning about a canceled North Carolina Amber Alert. Garner police have arrested and charged 2 people in connection to the case. According to police, the suspects broke into a home early Tuesday morning and demanded $1 million in cash. When the family refused, they kidnapped a woman and her 1-year-old child. Thankfully, they were found unharmed later that morning at a home in Wake Forest. Police are still looking for a third suspect this morning.
7:05 now. Today marks 6 years since the deadly mass shooting at UNC Charlotte. 2 people were killed, 4 others hurt after a gunman opened fire on the final day of classes. WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane is live this morning with a look at the university's plans for today's anniversary. Richard.
Yeah, good morning to you, Lisa. Good Wednesday morning out there. Folks, today the university will pause to reflect on those lives lost and again, everyone who was affected here at Niner Nation, as the university will lay wreaths in honor of everyone today, especially those folks who were affected on that day 6 years ago. That's when that gunman walked into the Kennedy building on the school's campus and opened fire in a classroom here on the College of UNC Charlotte. 4 students were hurt. 19-year-old Reed Palmer and 21-year-old Riley Howell were killed. Many consider Howell a hero for tackling the gunman. A permanent memorial was built on campus in 2023 to honor all of the victims. It sits just outside what was the entrance to the Kennedy building. Students past and present say this is a reminder of what it means to be Niner strong. Instructors and teachers also reflect on what it means to this university and all who come here.
It is incumbent upon us as a community, for those who are here and for those who come after, to continue to remember who those 2 students were, the other injured students in the class in Kennedy 236, so their memories are never lost.
I think it's really successful at creating an appropriate and respectful reminder and permanent memorial to remember the tragedy of the day, at the same time as it's a beautiful addition to our campus that doesn't make our campus about that one day.
I can sit here and I can waste my time being angry that it happened or how the legal stuff was handled or whatever, or I can just be thankful for A, being alive, and B, everything I've gotten to live and experience since then.
That last person you heard from was Drew Pescaro. He was one of those injured when that gunman walked into the classroom and opened fire, reflecting on how he feels. That was an interview we did with him several years ago. As for that gunman, he has been sentenced to 2 life terms without the possibility of parole. Again, today on the campus, there will be wreath-laying ceremonies. We'll have more on that throughout the day on all of our media platforms. We're on the campus of UNC Charlotte. Richard Devane, we'll send it back to you.
All right, Richard, thanks for that.
This morning, we're remembering 4 fallen officers 1 year after the deadly ambush in East Charlotte. CMPD officer Joshua Iyer, Deputy U.S. Marshal Tommy Weeks, Department of Adult Correction investigators Alden Elliott and Sam Pelosi, all killed while trying to serve a warrant. Yesterday, family and friends and colleagues gathered to recognize and remember their loved ones.
Mentally, it's hard. Yeah. Dude, just the other day, I broke down, I was crying, and I was like, sometimes don't even think about it. When I talk about it, I'm smiling. When I'm talking about it, I don't really think about it, but then there's sometimes when I think about it, I'm like, oh, like, this happened, and he really is truly gone. I always think that, oh, he's just gonna come walking through the door like normal, gonna take me to Dunkin' like he used to, would always take me to Dunkin' or Starbucks. He was the sweetest guy, but it's hard sometimes thinking, oh, he's not there anymore. Yeah. I'm so thankful for him every single day. Even though he's not here, he helped us out so much, and he treated me like I was one of his own.
In seeing the monument today, talk to me a little bit about what went through your mind, just looking at his photo and so many people wanting to take a picture, and what were you thinking?
Just happiness. Just that, so happy that this many people came together like in honor of him, and also in honor of all 4 of those that did put their life on the line that day.
WCNC Charlotte's Tricia Woodard reports on the emotional tribute paid to the men who died in the line of duty.
Before any words were read, this violin spoke. It spoke of love and loss, of duty and sacrifice. Unveiling something special, a permanent memorial of Tommy Weeks, just one of 4 officers lost in an ambush last year.
His end of watch, April 29, 2024.
For his family, it's been hard, but his 16-year-old stepdaughter, Mackenzie Swadley, says love from the community makes the pain easier to bear.
So happy that this many people came together, like in honor of him, and also in honor of all 4 of those that did put their life on the line that day.
Dozens of people came dressed in their jerseys, all representing Tommy's favorite teams, or any team, honoring his service and the passion he shared when he wasn't in uniform.
Me and my mom, and she did so much stuff by herself that when Tommy came, he helped her out so much. It was amazing. I'm so thankful for him. Every single day, even though he's not here, he helped us out so much, and he treated me like I was one of his own.
This memorial, it represents a small token of appreciation of Tommy's life. And this violin, it carried what hearts couldn't. Wait. The tunes spoke for Tommy Weeks, and because it did, we will never forget. Tradisha Woodard, WCNC Charlotte.
You can follow more coverage of the officers honored and that ambush on WCNC Plus, including a look back at the day, what has changed, and questions we still have. All right here on WCNC Plus.
Happening today, the city of Charlotte will officially open applications to replace Councilman Tark Bakari. But not just anyone will be able to apply for the open seat. Those interested must be above the age of 21, a registered voter, and live within District 6, which includes South Park. And whoever is appointed may not stay in that seat for long because all council positions are up for election this November. City leaders are hoping to fill that position by early June.
Live pictures right now over our nation's capital at 7:12 here on WCNC Plus. President Trump back at the White House after his 100-day in office victory lap in Michigan. But this morning, Democrats are taking aim at new polls. NBC's Alice Barr has more from Washington.
President Trump in Michigan celebrating his first 100 days in office with a rally recalling the several hundred days before.
I missed the campaign.
Leaning into campaign themes on immigration and the economy.
Instead of putting China first, I'm putting Michigan first, and I'm putting America first.
Even as he claimed a new message was part of his campaign while defending his tariffs and the economic uncertainty they've brought from Wall Street to Main Street, telling ABC News.
And I said all these things during my campaign. I said, you're going to have a transition period.
In fact, the president's repeated promises to bring down prices immediately were a key campaign theme.
When I win, I will immediately bring prices down starting on day one.
Donald Trump, you have failed us. He has the lowest approval rating of any president in 80 years.
And while he insists tariffs will restore American manufacturing and remake global trade,
we're fixing it.
His administration moved to soften the blow of tariffs on imported vehicles and auto parts that go into U.S. assembled cars after U.S. automakers voiced concerns over the impact to their bottom line. President Trump also responding to concerns over due process in migrant deportations and a Supreme Court ruling mandating hearings, saying he would talk to his lawyers but arguing it's not practical for the numbers he wants expelled.
Do you think we can give 21 million trials? Let's say each trial takes 2 weeks. Is that what you want us to do?
As the president keeps testing his powers in his first 100 days. Also on tariffs, President Trump called Amazon founder Jeff Bezos to voice his displeasure over a report that the massive online retailer was planning to display tariff-related cost hikes on imported items. Amazon quickly disputed the report, saying the move was never considered for its main site and would not happen. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
7:14 right now. Amazon says it will not list tariff prices on one of its discount platforms. Initial reports stated that Amazon would include tariff charges on its haul site, that's its budget site. But the company later scrapped those plans after President Trump called Jeff Bezos directly to raise some concerns.
Great. Jeff Bezos was very nice. He was terrific. He solved the problem very quickly. And he did the right thing, and he's a good guy.
A spokesperson says it was never planned for the main website.
North Carolina House lawmakers are debating a new bill that would require law enforcement to work more closely with federal officials on immigration arrests. WCNC Charlotte's Julie Kay takes a closer look at the bill.
At the North Carolina General Assembly, lawmakers are debating the most sweeping immigration enforcement plan yet. House Bill 318 would mandate local law enforcement agencies cooperate with federal immigration officials, including sharing information and notifying ICE if someone they flagged is about to be let out.
This bill does not make anybody safe. In fact, it really hinders people's ability to trust our judicial system, because people who are simply charged and not convicted of a crime will not have due process.
Stefania Arteaga is with the Carolina Migrant Network. She says this bill is a significant expansion from House Bill 10, growing the list of offenses requiring law enforcement's cooperation to include all felonies and Class A1 misdemeanors. She says the stakes are especially high in Charlotte.
If there's a need to go to the courthouse, if there's a need to talk to law enforcement, to do so carefully.
Just last week, ICE making arrests outside the Mecklenburg County Courthouse. Sheriff Gary McFadden says he witnessed 3 unidentified people handcuffing a man and taking him to an unmarked vehicle. Those people were later confirmed to be ICE agents. ICE confirmed the arrests of 4 people, 2 of whom had previously been arrested, but ICE says those detainers weren't honored by the sheriff's office. While McFadden agrees there's a need for better communication, he has expressed concern with ICE's timeliness in getting those detainers processed. Arteaga says that's a problem that impacts agencies and taxpayers across the state.
It is very likely we're going to see far more taxpayer dollars being utilized. I would almost dare say double.
But the biggest cost is an emotional one.
This bill is not feasible to be executed in the state. And in fact will create a fear factor among our community.
The bill still has a ways to go, but for many, the concern is already here.
That was Julie Kay reporting. If the bill makes it past Governor Josh Stein's desk, it would take effect in October.
Happening right now, part of Interstate 40 in eastern North Carolina is closed and it's not going to reopen until this afternoon. So heads up if you're planning to travel sometime today to the eastern part of the state. It all comes after this you see right here on your screen, a fiery crash that shut down the interstate. Take a look at some of these photos. Goodness. Crash happened yesterday morning about an hour southeast of Raleigh. So we're talking about 4 hours away from here, something like that. We're told a semi hit a car and then a pickup hit that semi, which started the fire. Right now, we know the driver of the semi had to be airlifted to the hospital. 3 others are expected to be okay. Right now, cities across the South and Midwest waking up to weather damage. Chris joins us again with a look at the severe storms that have been moving across the country. Chris.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Benny. A lot of people are going to be cleaning up today. And also, the National Weather Service is going to be really busy seeing if it was a tornado or not in a few locations. So just take a look at some of this video. This is out of Texas, where you can actually see a downpour. And this storm chaser is trying to depict here and then trying to help a stranded motorist. So reported winds in the triple digits, supposedly. And this can sometimes happen from a wet microburst, so you can have a downburst of winds that can sometimes exceed over 100 miles per hour. And then, hey, even an EF1 produces winds up to about 100 miles per hour as well. So that's one example of what's happening out of Texas. And take a look here. Texas, the winds are so strong, knocked over this tractor trailer, and that's easily winds over 70 miles per hour that would produce something like that. And you can actually see the driver climbing out of the truck, barely making it to safety. Over in Missouri, check out this damage. Now, this video from Missouri showing that the weather was so severe here at this elementary school, they had to evacuate 600 students to a storm shelter for a rightful reason. It was right around this area that we potentially had a reported tornado.
We had gotten a phone call from a friend saying there was a tornado coming. I checked radar scope on my phone. It showed the tornado in Neosho. And so we were preparing to go to the shelter. And then the storm came. By the time we got in the car to go, this had all happened. I was in the house. I heard a really loud bang, which must have been this, and a crack, which probably was that. God was very gracious to us, and we were praying, and we got to the shelter okay. We got back okay, but we have this to deal with now, and it's a matter of time, that's all.
And millions still remain under severe weather threats for today, which, by the way, radar scope that man said he uses, I use it. It's fantastic. It's a great one where you can actually see the dual pole radar, which allows you to see the velocity or if there's any curvature or spin to some of these storms. Now, here is the current system. We actually have active warnings associated with this. This is a stationary front or a quasi-stationary front, so it's barely moving. And that is going to take its time getting here. But then once it starts moving, it's moving at such a slow pace. That's why our rain chances are really up in the air for what we're going to see on Saturday. But right now, as I'm speaking, we're actually turning into more of a flood threat. All these green boxes representing either a flood warning to a flash flood warning, and even some embedded severe thunderstorm warnings as well. Multiple wind damage reports have been coming out of this. A lot of hail associated with this over the last 12 to 24 hours. I even saw some reports of golf ball size hail associated with that. And there was also a tornado report that took off some roofs, a really nasty storm system. And you can see wind gusts, wind damage reports all the way from New York sliding all the way through Texas. So it really just shows the magnitude of that system where over 60 million people are now impacted yet again in the same area. Over the next 24 hours, that front moves a little bit, but not too much. And then eventually we're going to get it going heading into the weekend. Today we have our first chance for rain just because another front to our north actually starts to lower a little bit. So that's going to trigger some storms, lifting them right along the I-40 corridor in the northern part of North Carolina. And the best chance, I think, is really from about 2 to 8 for you in the mountains and north of Statesville. And then heading into tomorrow, more showers and storms to the west. I think yet again, the mountains are the best chance from Greenville up into Boone. But then they start to fade out as they get to the I-77 corridor. Not saying that you won't see it. It's just not really a definitive chance for rain. And then we do it again here on Friday, seeing another passing shower. Some of us will get a quick storm heading into your Friday evening, while the rest of us will be perfectly dry, hoping the concert will stay dry. Our futurecast, this is the question that I'm talking about. Once these fronts get going, what are they going to do? And eventually it is going to clear. Now, I am seeing a little bit of optimism that we could see some drying heading into your Saturday evening before maybe you have a second coming of rain into your Sunday morning. Still keeping the clouds around, so not as sunny as what we were seeing. So we'll have to kind of wait and see as we get some closer data to assess this. But right now, for our live concert, Benson Boone trending to be dry with a chance for rain around Gwen Stefani. And then for your concert cast for tomorrow, more widespread rain during the afternoon. So that means it could be a wet Petey Pablo. And then as we are working our way through the concert, it looks like right around Pitbull time to around Weezer. That's where we're starting to see some optimism that the rain's getting out of here. But of course, there's a lot of time that can come. But by the time this concert starts again on Sunday, we are trending dry once Penelope Road opens back up. Take care, y'all.
All right, taking you out on the roads now. We do have some problems up over towards Iredell County. This is Mooresville area, I-77 northbound near Cornelius Road. We got this in about 20 minutes ago, saying the road had completely shut down due to a serious crash. And then we got another update saying that all lanes of traffic have opened. It's now just the shoulder that is blocked off. And best alternate route right now, because I'm still seeing some pretty significant delays with this, you could take Perth Road to then get back on to 77 northbound, or you could take the slower route, and that is going to be Highway 115, which is the Charlotte Highway. I want to show you the NCDOT camera from these backups. This is I-77 at River Highway, just south of where that crash is, and where you see all that traffic buildup, basically a parking lot out there, is just south of this area and all those northbound lanes. So again, you'll definitely want to avoid that area up towards Mooresville, I-77 northbound. Also looking a little bit slow over towards I-77 northbound in South Charlotte as well. Pretty typical for this time of day. Matthews to Charlotte drive time now about 27 minutes. Salisbury 57, Waxhaw 39, and Belmont about 24 minutes.
Listen to this. There's a new debate on the internet asking who would win in a fight, 100 men or one gorilla. Now, for clarification, the average adult male gorilla is up to 10 times stronger than a human, capable of lifting up to 1,800 pounds and breaking bones with their bare hands. Other factors include speed, aggression, and durability, which gorillas win in all categories. We asked AI this morning who would win. It picked the gorilla, as did I.
I think the gorilla.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think you'd only at some point exhaust the gorilla. But I think it'd probably take more than 100 men to do that.
For sure. And the men would have to coordinate and plan and decide and all that.
They're so muscular and they're so quick. And I mean, I feel like with one swipe, you could take out 20 guys.
And the gorilla would not be fearful of the men.
Nope. Here's hoping it never happens to you.
Ever.
7:25 right now. Live pictures right now over Uptown. Coming up in just about a minute, we'll have another check of your forecast and your morning commute that's coming your way. And then the latest headlines at 7:30 right here on WCNC Plus.
Well, good morning, everybody. Check this out. A beautiful sky, upper level clouds, temperature starting off in the lower 60s. So at times it's going to be cloudier than others, and at times you see a little more blue skies. This is a good testament of the way our day is going to look. Yesterday we hit 79 degrees, so we've been in the 70s for 3 straight days. Well, that streak is broken. For the final day of April, temperatures jumping into the upper 80s. We have 64 degrees tonight, and that's going to keep nice and mild lows around through the weekend. As for our Guy Roofing 7-day forecast, today and tomorrow in the upper 80s. So those are the warmest days over the next week and a half. And then temperatures start to come down. We have the slightest chance for rain today around the I-40 corridor. On and off rain Thursday and Friday. Much better chance for rain Saturday and Saturday night. Becca, what's going on traffic-wise?
Chris, right now I am following that active crash that we have on I-77. This is going to be near Cornelius Road, but what you are seeing now is the live images from the backups on River Highway, again, only impacting the northbound lanes. Now, previously, this had shut down the road. Now the crash is currently on the shoulder, so all lanes of traffic are opened up, but you can see it is still very slow moving out there. Got 2 alternate routes for you. You can take Perth Road, or you can also take Charlotte Highway to get around this. Big picture, still a little bit of congestion build up on 77 northbound over towards South Charlotte, as well as running a little bit slow on 85 northbound from Gastonia headed to Uptown Charlotte.
live at 7:30 right here on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington. North Carolina teachers are among the lowest paid in the nation. And new data this morning shows those numbers are getting worse.
WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards now live for us this morning. And Destiny, this new report comes as the state tries to fix that problem.
Yeah, this new national report shows North Carolina teachers making 43rd in the nation for average teacher salary. So definitely one of the lowest ranked. And this is down 5 spots from that same report last year. And like you said, there are state and local leaders trying to fix this, not just to keep educators in the classroom, but also to help them afford to keep living and working in the state. Now, here's some of those numbers right now. According to the National Education Association, new North Carolina teachers earn an average starting salary of $42,542, ranking 39th in the nation. The average salary for all teachers statewide is $58,292, ranking 43rd. That figure falls just below what's considered the minimum living wage, which is $58,411. During his recent State of the State address, Governor Josh Stein called the current pay situation an embarrassment, but efforts are underway to increase those numbers. The Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools Board just voted to raise the district's minimum wage, as well as a 3% salary increase for all staff and a 5% increase in teacher pay supplements. At the state level, a bipartisan bill would give educators raises up to $12,280. And under that plan, starting pay would increase to $50,000 with even higher salaries for teachers with more than 25 years of experience and master's degrees. It comes as teachers across the state worry they can't make a living anymore.
I should be able to make a living. I should not be worried that this summer I'm not going to have enough to meet the house payment. Drive 45 minutes across the state line and make more than what I'm making right now. But what does that do for my own children?
That same national report ranks South Carolina as number 36 in the nation for average teacher salaries. And lawmakers in the Palmetto State are also working on this. There's a bill that would raise starting salaries for teachers based on their past experience, past job experience that's not exclusive to teaching experience. And that bill is currently has passed the Senate and is onto the House now for consideration. I'll send it back to you guys live here from West Charlotte.
And we know that teachers do so much and they deserve so much.
We got to do better by our teachers.
We really have to.
All right, Destiny, thank you for that. Now let's get to check your forecast with Chris.
Thanks a lot, Ben. Here is what it looks like outside. We have those upper level clouds to our Dallas camera. I'm really repeating this one because I think it's the best one that we got across our Mr. Sparky Carolina camera network. Plus, it really shows testament of the way today is going to look, because at times it could look more like this, and other times you can see more clouds as you see off into the distance, a little bit of haze there as well. And we have a little bit of extra moisture that's in the air, so I'm also going to call today almost a sticky feel compared to what we usually feel for this time in April. But all in all, it's going to be a nice warm day and a strong breeze coming out of the southwest as you're working your way through the afternoon. Now, here's what's going on. High temperatures are going to reach 88 degrees, and then we're going to have a front that nears the area. That's going to allow for a passing shower or two, but it's not a guarantee that you're going to see it. 63 degrees right now for Charlotte. Here's that muggy meter I was trying to bring up. 60 to 63 for a dew point. What does that mean? Whenever you have a dew point over 60, you start to feel the moisture. When it's at 65, it's humid. When it's at 70, air you can wear, or yuck could be the technical meteorological term. High temperatures today, 88. That's the warmest actually we've been so far in 2025. So likely not going to surpass that. I think honestly, most of the areas that even have an 88 for Lincolnton, Gastonia, I think you're going to level out about 86. I think 88 is going to be the max across the greater Charlotte area, because that cloud cover isn't necessarily going to be forgiving just as it was yesterday. Winds gusting up to 20 miles per hour. We did that yesterday. It's a nice warm breeze out of the south and southwest. By the time you get your Thursday, you're looking at 20 to 25 mile per hour gusts and up to 25 to even 30 mile per hour gusts on your Friday. Here are your rain chances for today. We see signs of rain in our western viewing area by about 2 to 6 o'clock. Asheville seeing a developing shower. There could be some thunder and lightning associated with this. We don't have any big threats for severe weather, just really a quick downpour, maybe some thunder and lightning associated with these. Of course, it'll be breezy regardless. And then our rainfall chances pretty much stay at an isolated status as you just saw in our futurecast over the next 3 days. But one of these days separates from the rest, and that's Saturday, which is a disappointment because we have so much going on. What's going to happen is we have a front off towards the west, and I mentioned that a little bit earlier here on WCNC Plus, all the severe weather implications that come with it. I'm not calling for severe weather. This is just really a rain event. And the reason why we went on the struggle bus trying to get any rain recently is because drought feeds drought. We need a lot of moisture. We need a big time system to dry more moisture up in the atmosphere to overcome that drier air. Well, I think this is the one that's going to do it. So you could stay dry over the next 3 days, but our best chance for rain really are during your Saturday afternoon. Now, the big question mark is, what does it do once it gets to Charlotte? Because it's going to slow down. When it slows down, that could provide more rain. And it looks like it's going to stall out on the eastern side of the Carolinas. It's going to hover around Charleston, down to Savannah, Georgia, kind of jump back and forth for a couple of days. One thing that's going to do is that's going to keep a little bit more moisture around. It's going to keep more cloud cover around, so not as sunny of a Sunday as what we were previously looking like. Still dragging in that cooler air, but it also has the potential of firing up some more daytime showers and storms Monday heading into Tuesday. So a lot to watch, but we are also keeping an eye on this high pressure system. Once that slides in the frame, that's going to take over, kind of puts up the Heisman, keeping any of those other wet weather systems out of here. Now, our futurecast rainfall not showing a lot, barely anything over the next couple of days, up to an inch or either side thereof over the next 5 days into Monday, with most of that falling on Saturday and Saturday night. Guy Roofing 70 forecast, we are living at the top right now. Upper 80s for the next couple of days, mid 80s, 80, and then the 70s. We should be at about 77 for this time of the year. So for the last day of April, it's actually the warmest day that we have over the next 7. And looking at the long range, actually might be one of the warmest that we see over the next couple of weeks. Up next, we have Becca. How's traffic looking, my friend?
Chris, still causing some problems over towards Mooresville due to that earlier accident on I-77 northbound near Cornelius Road that previously had shut down all lanes of traffic. Now the crash is on the shoulder, so all lanes have reopened. But I want you to check out the delays from this. Right now, seeing those delays extend about 3 miles, and this is a live view from those backups, again, only impacting those northbound lanes just south of that accident. I-77 at River Highway, again, over in the Mooresville area. Definitely slow moving. You'll want to seek an alternate route. Right now, we probably have more orange and reds rather than green on the traffic map, so just keep that in mind. Allow yourself plenty of extra time as you head outdoors this morning. Cut a couple of new crashes out there, including this one, Hopedale Avenue at the intersection of Hertford Road, and then the second one being LaSalle Street crash being reported at the intersection of 77.
All right, Becca, thanks. New this morning, we are learning South Carolina's Limestone University is going to close. The Board of Trustees making that decision at a meeting last night. Officials say the school couldn't get the $6 million needed to stay open for the fall semester. In an email to students, the board says, pardon quote, "While the outcome is not what we hoped for, we are forever grateful for the passion, loyalty, and prayers of our Saints family. The closure impacts both in-person and online classes. Graduation ceremonies, those are still going to be held this Saturday." Well, the closing comes as more universities face potential funding cuts.
Now, local organizations are stepping in, helping students go to college. WCNC Charlotte's Siobhan Raleigh shows us how it's answering the question, where's the money for students?
UNC Charlotte freshman Antonio Brown is one of many college students worried about how to pay for school. Money is tight for he and his family.
My mom has to work 2 to 3 jobs to make sure we keep everything afloat. So having to put some extra money on the side for her would have been more pressure and would have took me longer to get into college.
Greater Step Scholars made it possible for Brown to receive a college scholarship. The organization provides scholarships and mentors for low-income students. During a time when government grants and loans are in jeopardy, every little bit helps. What does the scholarship mean to you?
The scholarship means that it's like a second home to me, a second family I can go to.
Workshops and trainings.
Asia Struthers is the program's executive director. She says students can receive up to $7,400 a year, depending on their financial situation.
Our scholarship is
hopefully getting them to a point where they don't have to take out student loans, and that they're able to manage the finances so they don't have to leave school, graduate, and have a burden of paying back all these student loans.
A Pew study finds half of Black and 40% of Hispanic or Latino borrowers have had a loan default compared to 29% of white borrowers. Although anyone can apply for the scholarship depending on where they live, Strother says most of the students who apply are African American and Latino.
It is not easy.
For Brown, who's studying electrical mechanical engineering, college is about more than getting a degree. It's about providing for his family.
First thing that came to my mind was, wow, I'm going to college for real. And I immediately told my mom, my siblings, even my grandma, and she was ecstatic.
Making his family proud. And Greater Step Scholars is hosting a gala Thursday from 6:30 to 10 o'clock. To find out how you can register, visit our website at WCNC.com. Reporting from UNC Charlotte, Siobhan Riley, WCNC Charlotte.
7:40 right now on WCNC Plus. Maybe you're on your second or third cup of coffee at this point. Hey, Charlotte's coffee scene is buzzing with a new trend that's bringing local coffee enthusiasts together. The Charlotte Coffee Club, creating community one cup at a time.
Beyond connecting over a cup of joe, it's also helping give back to those in need. WCNC Charlotte's Miles Harris joins us live with those details. Good morning, Miles.
Good morning, Ben and Lisa. Yeah, I mean, who would have thought that coffee would be the reason that hundreds of people meet within Charlotte each month to socialize, connect, but also give back to our community? What better way to bring people together than with something that helps get your day going? Coffee. And this cup of joe comes with a key ingredient: support.
But it's for anybody who wants to give back to the community but also make friends.
Charlotte Coffee Club is one of the latest social clubs in the Queen City, and it's picking up steam. Phil Reed is one of the co-founders and takes pride in the fact that they're hitting two birds with one stone, building the community while also serving it too.
We have about 100 people build sandwiches. Again, we send those sandwiches to Roof Above just to help out with their food need. And then we also build snack bags. And then with those snack bags, we hand it out to our volunteers and ask them to pass it out at any stoplight or stop sign where they do see someone who's unhoused. So they do have a little bit of like food and some treats for their the rest of their day.
Coffee Club started with a group of just 12 people and has now grown to nearly 300, building a sense of community one cup at a time.
We like coffee because we feel like it's just genuine, authentic conversation that you're able to have with people. And then also, like, it just seems like it's people who want to just have a good heart and want to see and give to people who like can't give back to them.
Ben and Lisa, Phil went on to also tell me that Coffee Club is really for anybody. Now, next Saturday, the Coffee Club is actually going to be meeting here at Resident Culture here in South End Charlotte to do a nonprofit fair where their members, where some of their volunteers will also get a chance to connect with other nonprofits and finding out more ways and how they can also serve the Charlotte community beyond just the Coffee Club. Now, obviously, for more information on that, we've got you covered. Just head over to our website or downloading our WCNC Charlotte mobile app, clicking on this story to find out all that information and more, guys.
I love that. It shows how just one small act, just getting together over coffee, can lead to making some change in the community. All right, Miles, thank you. Listen to this. This morning, cleanup crews are finally taking a break after hundreds of thousands of dimes scattered across a Texas highway. Drivers paid the price after a semi-truck carrying loose change tipped over. Fire crews say the 18-wheeler was carrying $800,000 in dimes when it overturned around 5:30 yesterday morning. Now, if you do the math, that's around 8 million dimes. 2 people in the truck were taken to the hospital, but they are expected to be okay. Crews spent 14 hours picking up millions of dimes spilled on the side of a highway. They used vacuums, rakes, even got down and picked them up by hand. In all, they say they were able to pick up about $80,000 worth. It's a lot of dimes.
A lot.
Since the year 2000, there have been 192 deaths along the Carolina coast due to rip currents.
And this week is all about raising our awareness to rip currents and the dangers they can pose. That's why WCNC Charlotte meteorologist Brittany Van Voorhees is raising our weather IQ this morning.
Rip currents are the #1 weather-related killer in the coastal Carolinas. So how do you keep you and your family safe during a beach trip? Let's raise your weather IQ. First, educate yourself on rip currents and what they are. A rip current is a narrow channel of fast-moving water that can reach speeds up to 8 feet per second. That's faster than an Olympic swimmer. Now, you might be rolling your eyes. Brittany, I'm from the Carolinas. I got this. Unfortunately, that might not be the case. Data shows only 20% of rip current deaths along the Carolina coastlines are from people who actually live there. The other 80% come from inland residents, including portions of North and South Carolina. Eric Hayden is the warning coordination meteorologist at the National Weather Service in Morehead City. He says to swim parallel to the shore until you get away from the rip current.
Rip currents don't pull you under, they're very narrow, they pull you out, and your natural reaction is to try to fight and go back towards shore.
But that fight can wear you out and eventually cause you to drown. If you can't swim, there's also the option to float on your back until help arrives. And don't let a nice day fool you. It is almost impossible to see a rip current unless you're elevated above the water.
Rip currents are different. They can occur on really nice beach days. The winds can be light, it can be sunny out, no thunderstorms, perfect to get out in the water.
The Carolina coast is also unique since part of it juts out into the ocean. This means we are impacted by storms well offshore.
It doesn't have to be a hurricane making a direct impact on our area. That swell reaches the coastline, and we've seen that usually a handful of times each year.
The key is knowing before you go. Check the forecast, adhere to beach warning flags, and if possible, only swim at beaches where a lifeguard is present. With your Weather IQ, I'm meteorologist Brittany Van Voorhees.
It's scary if it happens to you. I mean, what people don't realize is you can be the best swimmer in the world, but it's a mental thing.
Right.
Because it happens to you, you start realizing that you don't have control. Then you start to panic, and that's when the problems arise.
The anxiety takes over.
And that's when people drown. Is that even if they can swim, they
and
get
who's able to
anxious
float at that point? Like you
Yeah.
have to be calm to be able to do it.
Especially if you have kids or anybody nearby. For sure.
And if you've seen some of, there's also the huge waves that are out there that take them out like on top of that. So yeah, it's not a good scenario. So hopefully we learned something there, and I'm happy to say low rip currents for the time being.
Good.
Check it out. So this comes out each and every day, and we also have a forecast. I'm not giving you a forecast because literally the map does not change for the next 3 days. Low to moderate, so it was very easy on my part. I like those days. High temperature today, 88 degrees. This is the top, and then we're on the way down from here. Not a bad drop in temperatures. We're only going to return to the 70s a little bit later on this weekend into next week. 76 degrees around Boone, and then 84 for you in Morganton. I think it's a little bit cloudier up here, even though we're going to have a mix of cloud and sunshine throughout your Wednesday. Let's talk about April. April stats. 11 days in the 80s, 11 days in the 70s, and 7 in the 60s. That 88 I just showed you, we for sure are going to break that. So more 80s than 70s, and that helped us reach the warmest April in Charlotte history. All right, 1879 is what that dates back to, with an average temperature of 66 degrees. We really had a lot of mild lows that helped enhance this. It was actually in 2024, just last year, that we had the 5th warmest. That's now moved down to the 6th spot. But yeah, one above average month has been all over the place. Here's your April recap, preliminary. You could still move these numbers slightly. I don't think our precip is going to move at all. So we had 2.5 inches of rain. That's below where we should be by about an inch. So that was actually the 57th driest April. Overall warmest, I already mentioned that. But look at the temperature differentiation, or the difference of the high to the low. 88 for the warmest on April 5th, which we're going to try to match for the last day, so bookends. But 35 degrees on April 13th. I remember we had the warmest start in April history, and then all of a sudden it turned out to the second coolest week of April. So it was all over the place, but still readjusted to take that top spot. And looking at the rain almanac, check this out. We are now over 4 inches below normal for the year. Each and every month has been below normal. That's why we're officially under that moderate drought that could turn severe if we don't get really any more rain this week. And then, as I also mentioned, over an inch and almost an inch and a half way where we should be for this time of the month. We have more moisture in the air, at least. That helps. That usually breed a few more showers and thunderstorms. It's actually late July heading into August that we typically have our highest totals for a month, because we have a lot more of those pop-up showers and thunderstorms that help really cure the drought. So it might not be until then till we really see some relief. Until then, dry lawns and less lawn mowing. But we do see some signs of rain today, so it depends where you are. I think this really starts to flourish between about 2 and 8 from Morganton over to Taylorsville up into Boone. So this general area from I-40 north up to the Virginia state line. But the big question mark, what's going to happen for the extended forecast, is going to be this front and this low pressure system. I don't like the long range data because it's not really accurate. Literally, it's showing it's just going to be a blob of green. There's no real specificity or specifics that are associated with this. So tomorrow is going to be a much better look at this. That's going to allow where we see the heavier bands of rain, but it's the timing that's all over the place. I have one model that shows you it's going to rain pretty much from sunrise to sunset, beyond into Sunday, and then I have another one that actually is a little bit more optimistic, clearing things out just in time for Pitbull on Saturday night. So fingers crossed. I'm hoping it's more of a early morning to early afternoon on Saturday, but right now not looking that good. Rain and storms are likely now Saturday afternoon. That's going to cool things down to the upper 70s to 80 degrees, and then we have the mid 70s followed by on and off rain chances, much like what we have today and the following days heading into the first days of next week. Let's check with Becca to see how our traffic's behaving. Weather so far so good. Traffic, how's it looking?
Maybe not so great. We are in the thick of rush hour traffic, and I'm still monitoring that active crash on I-77 northbound near Cornelius Road that currently has the shoulder blocked. All lanes of traffic have reopened, including the general and toll lanes, but you can see that stretch of red there. So we've got two different alternate routes. The first one is going to be Perth Road, and then the second one is going to be Charlotte Highway, so you can get around this and then eventually get back on to I-77 northbound, again only impacting those Mooresville drivers. Outside right now it is also slow in South Charlotte. Live look from I-77 at Nations Ford Road. You can see it's pretty much bumper to bumper traffic as you enter from Fort Mill in northern York County inbound into Mecklenburg County, although no reports of any crashes right now on 77 in South Charlotte. Got a couple of new incidents out there, including this one. Crash being reported at Miranda Road at Prim Road, just causing a few minor delays. And then Riverdale Drive, crash being reported at Steel Creek Road, also causing some delays there.
It's time for today's Tiny Town as we salute the smallest towns in North and South Carolina. The population has to be 1,000 or less, and it must have a sign. Today's Tiny Town is Fort Lawn, South Carolina, down Highway 21, basically between Chester and Lancaster. Fort Lawn, South Carolina. Here are the details, all the facts. Population 973. The area is only 1.39 square miles. It was named after Dr. Fort. Dr. Fort, the train actually stopped in front of his house, which had a big lawn. The conductor would always say, next stop, Fort's Lawn, shortened to Fort Lawn, South Carolina. And that is today's Tiny Town.
Crazy. Never knew that story. Leave it to Larry. Well, Charlotte City Council just approved a $100 million housing push that could change who can afford to live here in the city. More than 200 affordable housing units coming to Central Avenue on the east side of town, along with 32 income-restricted townhomes there as well. Supporters say it's a step towards solving the city's housing crisis, but critics worry there aren't enough jobs and transit access nearby, creating a cycle of struggle.
It becomes very difficult, right? You get stuck in these cycles of generational poverty where folks are being asked to live in one area that's affordable, but not having the opportunity to have truly an upwardly mobile job unless they leave and go to what the city has invested in as job centers.
The City Council has also approved several other affordable housing projects across the city, including permission for staff to work on turning city-owned land into future housing sites.
Well, check this out. A predominantly black, all-female unit that deployed near the end of World War II just received one of the nation's highest honors. The unit, known as the 6888, was awarded the Congressional Gold Medal yesterday. The battalion worked to deliver a backlog of millions of pieces of undelivered mail when U.S. soldiers were growing frustrated after going months or years without word from family and friends back home. More than 300 descendants of the women who served were in attendance. House Speaker Mike Johnson presented the medal to the families.
With great ingenuity, they maintained a tracking system of 7 million ID cards to solve the issue of soldiers sharing names. They didn't have all the high-tech gadgets that we have today. They had to do it manually. Processing roughly 65,000 pieces of mail per shift, they cleared the entire backlog in no less than 3 months. That's right. Listen to this. By the war's end, the 6888 had sorted over 17 million pieces of mail. They got the job done even in the face of inadequate supplies and even in the face of discrimination, both for within the Army and back home. These women were valiant members of our greatest generation.
Their official name is the 6,888th Central Postal Directory Battalion. The 6888 movie was released in theaters and on Netflix last year, starring Kerry Washington and Oprah Winfrey. Right now, we're going to take a quick break, but keep it right here on WCNC Plus. We're going to have another check of your weather and traffic in a couple of minutes, and we'll have the day's headlines coming up at the top of the hour. Stay with us.
Well, good morning, everyone. 88 degrees today, and one of the warmer highs that we have over the next 7 days. As we are working our way through today, you can expect a mix of cloud and sunshine, slight chance for rain further off towards the north. Overnight tonight, temperatures dropping down to the lower to the mid 60s. Still rocking the upper 70s one more time tomorrow before we start to get cooler day by day. As we are working our way through the week and into the weekend, we have a better chance for rain, especially on Saturday. Right now, there's a discrepancy if that rain is going to be more of a Saturday morning to Saturday afternoon or more of a Saturday afternoon to Saturday evening. So a lot of changes can happen, but regardless, it's going to rain on Saturday. Temperatures cooler after that with a drier Sunday afternoon. Becca, how's your morning commute looking?
Chris, still got problems up towards Morrisville and Iredell County. This is a look at that active crash that we have on I-77 northbound near Cornelius Road that is currently blocking that right-hand shoulder. Previously was blocking all lanes of traffic, but you can see that stretch of oranges and reds indicating some delays. Again, you'll definitely want to avoid the area. Also slow over towards south of Uptown. This is a look at I-77 at West Boulevard just before you hit the John Belk Freeway, and it is bumper-to-bumper traffic over there. It's pretty much gridlocked right now from 77 northbound Fort Mill all the way through Uptown Charlotte. Allow yourself plenty of extra time as you head outdoors this morning.
streaming live right now at 8 a.m. right here on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington. Today marks 6 years since that deadly mass shooting at UNC Charlotte. 2 people were killed, 4 others hurt after a gunman opened fire on the final day of classes. WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane is live this morning with a look at the university's plans for the anniversary today.
Yeah, good morning to you guys. Good Wednesday morning, folks. We're standing here at the Remembrance Garden. This is actually where a ceremony is set to begin in about 30 minutes. Right here at the Constellation Gardens, the Remembrance Memorial, you can see this was put up here a few years ago, and behind it, that's the garden where this procession will take place. It's going to be here to honor. There'll be a couple of wreaths that'll be laid here in just about 30 minutes to honor those lives that have been affected, those lives that were lost, and of course to continue to be Niner strong. Now let's take a look at some video of what is marking this somber day. 6 years since that gunman, that former student, walked into the Kennedy building right here where I'm standing on the school's campus and opened fire at the first desk in that classroom, room 236. Actually, 4 students were hurt, and 2 students, 19-year-old Reed Palmer and 21-year-old Riley Howell, were shot and killed. Many consider Howell a hero for tackling the gunman. A permanent memorial has been built here, as we showed you just a few seconds ago, in 2023 to honor all of the victims. It sits just outside the entrance of the Kennedy building where we are now. We were actually able to listen to some administrators over the years, talk to them, as well as one of those students who was in that classroom who was injured in this incident. Take a listen to what they had to say.
It is incumbent upon us as a community, for those who are here and for those who come after, to continue to remember who those 2 students were, the other injured students in the class in Kennedy 236, so their memories are never lost.
I think it's really successful at creating an appropriate and respectful reminder and permanent memorial to remember the tragedy of the day, at the same time as it's a beautiful addition to our campus that doesn't make our campus about that one day.
I can sit here and I can waste my time being angry that it happened or how the legal stuff was handled or whatever, or I can just be thankful for A, being alive, and B, everything I've gotten to live and experience since then.
Yeah, the words of Drew Pescaro, who was injured, one of those 4 students who was injured, talking a little bit about what happened to the person responsible for that shooting, who has been convicted and sentenced to or pled guilty to 2 life sentences without the possibility of paroles. Again, the procession of the ceremony will take place here on the campus, right in front of the Kennedy building, which is right in front of me, right here at the Constellation Garden, where they will wind around, and then those wreaths will be brought here, and there will be students and of course faculty, and anyone who wants to come out here is totally welcome to come out here and join in this day where folks will remember those lives that were lost and all of the lives that were affected by this horrific tragedy 6 years ago. We're on the campus of UNC Charlotte. This is Richard Devane. We'll send it back to you guys.
All right, Richard, thanks. Let's get a check of the forecast right now with Chris on this last day of April, and it feels like we're going to go from April to June.
Right? Yeah, it's already June-like. I think it was a little bit more June-like days than April-like days. That's why this is the warmest April that we've ever had in Charlotte history, dating back to 1879. Local temperature is 65 degrees, so we have begun our warm-up for the day. We dropped down to around 62, 63 in Mecklenburg County. 88 is the top of the line. We're really hanging out in the mid-80s for most of the day, and then the mid-70s up in the mountains. There's a chance for rain, but most of us are going to stay dry. If you live along and north of I-40, you have the best chance for rain. If you live in the high country, you by far have the best chance. Where I think that's where most of the rain is going to fall. Sometimes it's at those upper elevations. It's easier to condense the moisture, and then that's why you usually have more widespread rain than, say, down the mountains and into the Piedmont. That cloud cover is also going to be thick from time to time. We saw saw that yesterday. A lot of upper level clouds as well, so not a lot of transparency of the sky. But we have such a big push out of the southwest. It's going to be a breezy day. It's going to be almost like a blowtorch effect, cranking temperatures in the mid to the upper 80s. Here's the rain chances, though. You really start to see them pop up anywhere between about 2 and 6, a little bit more numerous getting close to the 6 o'clock hour, heading into the evening, and then after the sun sets, it starts to fizzle out. This is the way things go. Over the next couple of days, we have isolated rain chances, which means most of us are going to stay dry. Here is technically round 2. I feel like I want to put air quotes, round 2, because look at the futurecast. It's really further off towards the west. It's close to Spartanburg and Greenville that we see the rain. Then once it gets close to the I-77 corridor, it dies out. So not saying you won't see rain, just it's not really a high confidence widespread rain that you absolutely need the umbrella. And the other chance that we have heading into your Friday, it just depends. These I think are going to be a little bit more slow moving, and since they're slow moving and there could be a little bit heavier, that's where it's a little bit more of an impact. Those are going to be on and off starting in the middle to late afternoon, on and off as we work our way through the evening, and then we do it again on Saturday. So real quick, I want to go through this. There are 2 different scenarios that we could set up for Saturday. Number 1, we see rain start in the morning into the afternoon, and then things start to clear out by the end of the concert. Now, model number 2 showing still scattered rain on Friday night. Rain mainly arrives during the afternoon, widespread for the evening, and then it doesn't leave. So obviously I like model 1 way better than model 2. This is all associated with a cold front that's going to slow down and even stall to our east. So there's still a lot of uncertainty what's going to happen after Saturday, but for sure it's going to rain. It's just the timing is a little off. Upper 80s to the mid 70s by Sunday, leveling out where we should be to start next week. Traffic likely picking up. That's what Becca's been talking about. What's going on?
Still looking messy out there, but one of the nicer spots is going to be this one. This is I-77 at Atondo Avenue. Right now, those northbound lanes looking a lot better than the southbound lanes as drivers make their way inbound into uptown Charlotte. Still lots of red across the area, so again, allow yourself plenty of extra time if you are headed off to work and school this morning. Here are all the active crashes across the area. Got about 12 of them just in the Charlotte-Mecklenburg area. Some of the newer ones, including this one, Avalon Avenue. Crash being reported at the intersection of Glenwood Drive, and then over towards South Charlotte, a new crash being reported at the intersection of Sharon Road at Eastburn Road. You can see those yellows there indicating some slowdowns in and around that area. When it gets to those drive times right now, Matthews to Charlotte is now up to 33 minutes, Salisbury 62, Waxhaw 39, and Belmont 24 minutes.
Right now, Randlow police need your help finding this missing teen. Take a look at your screen. This is 17-year-old Chloe Whitener. She was last seen at her home on Lewis Road. Her family thinks that she left the house sometime after 9 Monday night. She had on black pants, black sweatshirt, and white Nikes. If you've seen her, please call the number there at the bottom of your screen. We're learning new details this morning about a canceled North Carolina Amber Alert. Garner police have arrested and charged 2 people in connection to the case. According to police, the suspect broke into a home early Tuesday morning and demanded $1 million. When the family refused, they kidnapped the woman and her 1-year-old child. Thankfully, the 2 were found unharmed later that morning at a home in Wake Forest. Police are still looking for a 3rd suspect this morning.
Just into our newsroom, we are hearing from South Carolina Treasurer Curtis Loftus after House lawmakers decided not to take up a hearing to remove him from office. Loftus says, in part, quote, "I am ready to turn my focus back to doing the people's work, to stabilize our state's financial system and put this unfortunate chapter of fighting baseless claims by a few politically motivated senators behind us." The House decision comes after the Senate did vote to oust him last week. Loftus was at the center of a $1.8 billion accounting error that caused statewide confusion. Charlotte is growing fast, and city leaders are laying the groundwork now for what that growth could look like in the years to come.
You may have heard about the city's 2040 comprehensive plan. We've talked about it for years. Well, soon you have the chance to weigh in on how your specific community takes shape. We're talking about everything from housing developments, traffic, new businesses, all of it. Joining us live this morning here on WCNC Plus to talk more about it, Monica Holmes with the City of Charlotte. Monica, good to see you. Thanks for waking up with us.
Of course, good to see you too.
So we're talking about something called community area plans. And I feel like when people hear about this stuff, they kind of glaze over, not fully understanding their importance. But let's go over some of those community area plans. There's 14 of them. across the city. I believe we have the map that we'll show at some point. Each one of these areas, whether it's the southern part of the town or the western part of the town, we're going to show the map right here. They each have their own needs and goals. So why is it?
That's correct.
Why is this important?
Well, so it's really important because everyone wants to know how their own neighborhood is going to grow, what type of development they're going to see, what type of transportation investments are going to happen. And this is the opportunity to really give a voice to that and help chart how that's going to happen. And I think people care about that. They especially care when something's happening nearby them.
And Monica, is there specific feedback that you're looking for, that you want to hear from the people about these areas?
Sure. We actually have a really robust website tool. It's at cltfuture2040.com, and it has a virtual open house where you can walk through all of the maps and the area plans and give your feedback and comments. We also have the opportunity to schedule time with staff so that they can give you more information. And we're looking for any type of feedback. So really, we want to know, what do you like? What do you not like? What do you want to see changed? And what's most important to you?
And how are you hoping that this process, how can it shape some of these neighborhoods, communities? If they're like, say, X in the year 2017, what are you hoping they're going to be like in, say, 2037?
That's a great question. So in each area plan, there's actually a community profile, which outlines exactly what the needs are, what the goals are, and the number of growth that we see in that community and the number of jobs we see happening in that community. So people can really take a deep dive in and get into the weeds and understand what that looks like, and what, if it's right now it's 2025, what is that going to look like in 2040? How many jobs are we going to see come to the area? How many more people are going to move here? And what does that mean for me?
And we've been talking about the 2040 plan for quite some time now, so this may be obvious, but when will this all come to fruition? Is there like a deadline of 2040, or is there something else?
Sure. So it has a 2040 horizon year. That's what all the growth projections are. That's what those job projections are that I was just talking about. But this specific effort, we will be going to a public hearing in just a few weeks on May 12th, and then we'll be doing a public webinar on the 15th. So for people who want to give input into those 2040 projections, now's the time. So the next few weeks are really important.
Because, and we're all guilty of this, is we're going to complain about it in 3 or 4 years from now, right, and we're not going to like that one thing that's happening in our neighborhood, and we've lost our chance. So again, the meeting come up May 12th. What do people need to know? Where can they go for more information? Do they need to sign up? That sort of thing.
Yes, so the website I gave, cltfuture2040.com, has all of the different ways you can plug in. You can sign up, like I said, for virtual office hours to chat with staff. You can invite us to your neighborhood meeting. We'll be happy to come and share information. And you can just simply give your comments online. So that is the most important information, and it gives you all the resources and walks you through everything you need to know.
20-something-year-old Ben Thompson would have...
What would you have said?
Would have been glazed over by this entire conversation and thought, why would I care? 40-something-year-old Ben is like, this really matters, and that neighborhood meeting is going to be fire, and people are going to argue about it, and it's going to get people worked up. I mean, this stuff matters.
Because here's the thing. Everybody has an opinion, right?
Yes.
They should do this. I'd like to see this or that. This is your chance to have your voice heard, to share your thoughts.
So important, so important. All right, Monica Holmes, thanks so much with the City of Charlotte. We appreciate you taking time and explaining all this to us, because it is really important.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Well, this morning we are remembering 4 fallen officers 1 year after the deadly ambush in East Charlotte. CMPD Officer Joshua Iyer, Deputy U.S. Marshal Thomas Weeks, and Deputy of Adult Correction Investigators Alden Elliott and Sam Pelocci killed while trying to serve a warrant. Yesterday, on the anniversary, friends, families, and colleagues gathered to recognize and remember their loved ones.
Mentally, it's hard. Yeah. Dude, just the other day, I broke down, I was crying, I was just like, sometimes don't even think about it. When I talk about it, I'm smiling, when I'm talking about it, I don't really think about it, but then there's some times where I think about it, I'm like, oh, like, this happened, and he really is truly gone. I always think that, oh, he's just gonna come walking through the door like normal, gonna take me to Dunkin' like he used to, would always take me to Dunkin' or Starbucks. He was the sweetest guy, but it's hard sometimes thinking, oh, he's not there anymore.
Yeah.
I'm so thankful for him. Every single day, even though he's not here, he helped us out so much, and he treated me like I was one of his own.
In seeing the monument today, talk to me a little bit about what went through your mind, just looking at his photo and so many people wanting to take a picture, and what were you thinking?
Just happiness. Just that, so happy that this many people came together like in honor of him, and also in honor of just of all 4 of those that did put their life on the line that day.
WCNC Charlotte's Tradisha Woodard reports on their emotional tribute paid to the men who died in the line of duty.
Before any words were read, this violin spoke. It spoke of love and loss, of duty and sacrifice. Unveiling something special, a permanent memorial of Tommy Weeks, just one of 4 officers lost in an ambush last year.
His end of watch, April 29, 2024.
For his family, it's been hard, but his 16-year-old stepdaughter, Mackenzie Swadley, says love from the community makes the pain easier to bear.
So happy that this many people came together like in honor of him, and also in honor of just of all 4 of those that did put their life on the line that day.
Dozens of people came dressed in their jerseys, all representing Tommy's favorite teams, or any team, honoring his service and the passion he shared when he wasn't in uniform.
Me and my mom, and she did so much stuff by herself that when Tommy came, he helped her out so much. It was amazing. I'm so thankful for him. Every single day, even though he's not here, he helped us out so much, and he treated me like I was one of his own.
This memorial, it represents a small token of appreciation of Tommy's life. And this violin, it carried what hearts couldn't. Wait. The tunes spoke for Tommy Weeks, and because it did, we will never forget. Tradisha Woodard, WCNC Charlotte.
You can follow more of our coverage of the officers honored and the ambush on WCNC Plus right here, including a look back at the day, what has changed, and the questions we still have more than a year later. All that right here inside the WCNC Plus app.
Happening today, the city of Charlotte will officially open applications to replace Councilman Tark Bakari. But not just anyone will be able to apply for the open seat. Those interested must be above the age of 21, a registered voter, and live within District 6, which includes South Park. And whoever is appointed in May not stay in that seat for long because all council positions are up for election this November. City leaders are hoping to fill the position by early June.
8:18 right now on WCNC Plus. Amazon says it will not list tariff prices on one of its discount platforms. Initial reports say that Amazon would include the tariff charges on its Haul site, that's its budget site. But the company later scrapped those plans after President Trump called Jeff Bezos to raise his concerns.
Great. Jeff Bezos was very nice. He was terrific. He solved the problem very quickly. And he did the right thing, and he's a good guy.
A spokesperson says it was never planned for the main site.
Happening right now, part of Interstate 40 in eastern North Carolina is closed and will not reopen until this afternoon. This comes after a fiery crash shut down the freeway. Just take a look at this picture. The crash happened yesterday morning about an hour southeast of Raleigh. We're told a semi hit a car and then a pickup hit that semi, which started the fire. I mean, look at that. Right now, we know the driver of the semi had to be airlifted to the hospital. 3 others are expected to be okay.
Right now, cities across the South and the Midwest are waking up to weather damage. Let's bring Chris back in, and he has a look at some of the severe storms that have been moving across the country. Chris.
Thanks a lot, Ben. There was a storm system stretched from New York to Texas, producing over 200 reports of wind damage, large hail up to golf ball size, and even tornadoes. So let's take a look at this video out of Texas. You can see the downpouring winds, and a storm chaser is actually trying to help a stranded motorist. These winds were reportedly up into the triple digits, so around 100 miles per hour, and that's not out of the norm. Some severe thunderstorms can produce downbursts up to over 100 miles per hour. That's a really strong one. And tornadoes, usually about EF1 strength, will reach 100 miles per hour as well. Take a look here. From Texas, the wind's so strong it actually knocked over this tractor trailer, and you can see the driver climbing out of the truck, barely making it to safety. Over in Missouri, this video shows that the severe weather actually caused elementary school students to evacuate into a storm shelter. There were 600 students that had to do this. Here's what they had to say.
We had gotten a phone call from a friend saying there was a tornado coming. I checked radar scope on my phone. It showed the tornado in Neosho. And so we were preparing to go to the shelter. And then the storm came. By the time we got in the car to go, this had all happened. I was in the house. I heard a really loud bang, which must have been this, and a crack, which probably was that. God was very gracious to us, and we were praying, and we got to the shelter okay. We got back okay, but we have this to deal with now, and it's a matter of time, that's all.
And as of right now, millions are under a storm threat, including Texas again and parts of Missouri. Other video we weren't able to show you, there was also a lot of wind damage up in and around Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. 2 people actually died from that event. So it just really shows how vast the system is and all the different forms of severe weather that Mother Nature can bring. Now, it's the bullseyes, it's the reds that you always focus on. Now, any one of these could have gusty winds over 60 miles per hour or hail up to around quarter size. But it's this little area, this little lima bean of the medium to a high threat. That's what we're keeping an eye on across the United States. And then day 2 of our severe weather risk stretches this from Texas up through Cincinnati and Ohio over to Columbus. And then day 3, not as bad. Notice that we have no threats for severe weather over the coming days for the Carolinas. We just don't have the right dynamics. Usually whenever you have a front that's draped across the area with an excessive amount of moisture, that is the perfect setup. We actually have video from Pittsburgh, so let's just show you that, just show an example of what could come actually from this system. Bringing it up here. So this video that you're about to see, waiting on it, there it is. Okay, so this is a drone video seeing some of the storm damage that happened here. Oh yeah, wow, that's harrowing. The leftover storm damage that took a roof off in this densely populated area here in Pittsburgh. Yeah, you oftentimes think it was like, oh, within the city it's not as bad, and it was like, nope, it can happen there as well. No confirmation if this was straight line winds or if this was a tornado that touched down. Sometimes it's really tough to see, but honestly, a downburst of winds can do just as much. This is really substantial, so it really took off of the roof. Wow. Yeah, the lightning likely hit that power line as well, causing a fire. Another danger that we see outside of here for severe storms. A lot of debris came from this. You can't really tell from the video, but a lot of damage just from how crumpled everything is. I think winds are at least about that 70 to 80 miles per hour. If you ever have a severe thunderstorm warning that has a potential up to 80 mile per hour winds, you're going to be tagged under a destructive severe thunderstorm warning, which I think they could have been on that criteria, or even a tornado. Whew. Not a good situation. I'm happy to say that we're not going to be seeing that here. Satellite and radar seeing some severe thunderstorm warnings, multiple flash flood warnings. This is a flood event. This is a severe weather event. Everything all in one. Dallas actually in line for a lot of strong storms coming up. Here are some of the storm reports we've seen over the last 12 hours. I read some of these up to about golf ball size hail. That's a rough way to start off the day because a lot of this happened since midnight. And over the next 24 hours, that system is going to near the Charlotte area. That's going to give us our first chance for rain around the I-40 corridor, but look how far west it is. It takes a while. Now, under the umbrella of a warm front, this is technically called the warm sector. Welcome to it. That's why temperatures are in the upper 80s today, but we have a little stickiness as well. So we're starting to set the stage for a chance for rain and storms. We see the first signs, as I mentioned, right around the I-40 corridor, and then on and off rain is also going to be possible heading into your Thursday. Same thing into Friday, but Saturday is a whole different ball game. I'll have more on that at the top of the next half hour, but first, we have to get to your morning commute with Becca Birdsall.
And good morning, Chris. Outside now, this is a live look at I-85 over towards the Brookshire Boulevard. 85 is actually looking pretty good, both those north and southbound lanes as you were heading out early on this morning. Got some problems, though, especially towards the Ballantyne area. The inner loop of I-485 currently has an active crash, and this is near Johnston Road. You can see the red and oranges indicating some pretty significant delays there. Will likely add several extra minutes to that morning commute. Also want to let you know of some 11 life closures that are going to close a couple of roads in Uptown starting 9 a.m. today all the way through May 6th. This is going to be impacting 7th, 8th, and 9th Street all the way up from the light rail tracks to North Caldwell Street. We'll also close Caldwell and Brevard all the way from 6th to 9th Street.
All right, thanks, Becca. Well, we're going to take a quick break right now, but keep it right here on WCNC Plus. We're going to have another check on your weather and traffic in just a couple of minutes, and then we'll have the day's top news stories coming back at 8:30.
Good morning, everybody. We are looking at on and off rain over the coming days, and our high temperatures are reaching the upper 80s today. So 88 degrees for a high. That's spectacular, with a little bit of that moisture that's going to be out and about, feeling a little bit sticky. We have the upper 80s next day as well on Thursday. This will be one of the warmest days we've had so far in 2025. Our Guy Roofing 7-day forecast. Here it is: 88, 87, 85 degrees, and then you've seen those temperatures start to tumble back down to the mid 70s on Sunday heading into Monday, back to about 79 degrees on Tuesday. Best chance for rain right now looking to be on Saturday. Becca, what's going on traffic wise?
All right, a lot to talk about over here. Got lots of crashes, so make sure to allow yourself plenty of extra time as you head outdoors this morning, including this one heads up to the Ballantyne area. The inner loop of I-485 near Johnston Road currently has an active crash, and a big stretch of delays will likely add several extra minutes to that morning commute. Also looking at a disabled vehicle. This is on outbound Berkshire Boulevard at Center Street just before you hit I-85. Currently, one lane of traffic is blocked off. Another disabled vehicle, this time over towards Plaza Midwood. This is outbound Central Ave at Sharon Amity Road, also blocking one lane of traffic. In addition, Providence Road got a crash being reported at Shoreham Drive. You can see some oranges indicating some minor delays associated with this crash, so you'll want to avoid the area.
Live at 8:30 right here on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington. North Carolina teachers are among the lowest paid in the nation. And new data this morning shows those numbers are getting worse.
WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards joins us now live this morning. And Destiny, the new report comes as the state tries to fix that problem.
That's right. This new national report is showing North Carolina ranking at number 43 in the country for average teacher pay, and that's down 5 spots from the same report last year. But like you said, state and local leaders are trying to find a fix to this to not only help educators stay in the classroom, but also help them keep affording to live and work in the state. Now, here's a look at those numbers. According to the National Education Association, new North Carolina teachers earn an average starting salary of $42,542, ranking 39th in the nation. The average salary for all teachers statewide is $58,292, ranking at 43rd. That figure falls just below what's considered the minimum living wage, which is $58,411. Now, during his recent State of the State address, Governor Josh Stein called the current pay situation an embarrassment. But efforts are underway to increase those numbers. The Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools Board just voted recently to raise the district's minimum wage, as well as a 3% salary increase for all staff and a 5% increase in teacher pay supplements. At the state level, a bipartisan bill would give educators raises up to $12,280. And under that plan, starting pay would increase to $50,000, with even higher salaries for teachers with more than 25 years of experience and master's degrees. It comes as teachers across the state worry they can't make a living anymore.
I should be able to make a living. I should not be worried that this summer I'm not going to have enough to meet the house payment, drive 45 minutes across the state line and make more than what I'm making right now. But what does that do for my own children?
And the same report shows South Carolina ranking as number 36th in the nation for average teacher salaries, but lawmakers in the Palmetto State are trying to do something about this as well. There is a bill that would raise teacher salaries, raise starting teacher salaries to be based on job experience, and it doesn't have to be teaching credentials. And this bill is currently, it has passed the Senate and now is to be considered in the House. Live in West Charlotte, I'm Destiny Richards, WCNC Charlotte.
Should not be controversial to say that we've got to do better by our teachers.
We have to.
Because not only do they deserve it, but also it impacts generations,
future generations
to come.
Yeah, they deserve more. All right, Destiny, thank you so much for that.
Let's get a check your WCNC weather impact forecast right now as we end April and feels like we start June.
Yeah. What happened to May? I guess it's not gonna be May. We're looking at some haze right now through our Dallas camera, about 1,500 feet up in the atmosphere. So I was looking at this and I was like, okay, well, this is curious. What's our air quality like? Well, it's at a moderate. So we have a little bit of ground level ozone, about 1.5 times what we usually like to have. And I'm also noticing that we have a little bit of orange on the map in the eastern side of the state. That's unhealthy for sensitive groups. So a code orange, that means that certain people that have respiratory issues, asthma and such, that you're under that warning. This is just not a great air quality. You're fine. It's just, it could be better. Current temperatures right now, 65 degrees in Charlotte. 66 in Lincolnton. We have a lot more moisture in the air, and it's also a lot warmer as well. Temperatures anywhere from 2 to 10 degrees warmer across the area compared to just a day ago. Let's talk about high temperatures and in closer detail. If you're up in the mountains, you have the lower to the mid 70s. You will have a chance for rain blossoming in the middle of the afternoon through the evening. You'll have the mid 80s mainly here in the foothills, down to 86 degrees around Maiden. And then we have 87 in Lincolnton, only the mid 80s around Statesville, 88 closer to Charlotte. Even though any of these temperatures, sometimes your high temperature is literally only hit for 5 to 10 minutes. I think most of the afternoon we're in the lower to the mid 80s. This is just the top peak threshold. Maybe when you have some of the sunnier periods by the end of the day. But we are in that humid threshold, right around 60 to 65. Whenever you have a dew point in that level, you're feeling it. You're feeling that moisture in the air. So how you feel over the coming days? Borderline uncomfortable today to just that sticky air now through Saturday. And we could have a little relief behind a cold front, but there's still a lot of curiosity what that front's going to do. It really likes the Carolinas and looks like it wants to linger. High temperatures over the next 10 days. We hit our bottom on Sunday behind that cold front before we have a nice little rebound back into the lower lower 80s. So we should be in the upper 70s this time of year. No, looks like May is also exceeding expectations. So those who love the 70s, I don't know what's happening here. We're bypassing it and trying to push on to June. So hopefully maybe May will pump the brakes a little bit. Luckily, our lows are mild, only dropping down to the lower to the mid 50s. And then our Guy Roofing 7-day forecast shows that our rainfall chances, not too much, only about 20% over the next 3 days. So that means I think you see some rain on the I-40 corridor today. Tomorrow it's a little more likely further off towards the west. Friday it's all over the place during the afternoon and evening. Saturday though, it's really tough to avoid the rain. We're talking about widespread rain. I'm going to go through all the models showing you the best and worst case scenario because we have some big time events that are happening a little bit later on. So I'll see you later right here on WCNC Plus. In the meantime, Ben, Lisa.
All right, Chris, thanks. Happening right now, a wreath-laying ceremony underway at UNC Charlotte as we mark 6 years since the school's deadly mass shooting.
Let's listen in to this. And again, no one's speaking right now, but this is a live look. You can see the wreath-laying ceremony there at UNC Charlotte. It was this time when a gunman walked into the Kennedy building on the school's campus, opened fire in the classroom. It was the last day of classes 6 years ago. 4 students were hurt during that mass shooting. A 19-year-old and a 21-year-old were killed. 19-year-old Reed Parlier and 21-year-old Riley Howell. Many considered Howell a hero because he actually tackled the gunman during that shooting. A permanent memorial was built on the campus 2 years ago to honor all of those victims. And again, you can see a number of people there at the site for that ceremony this morning. 6 years since that mass shooting on the campus of UNC Charlotte.
And this all happening outside that Kennedy building that Lisa just mentioned. And you can bet a number of the staffers there gathered this morning were there 6 years ago. For the students, many of them, this was years ago for them. They were likely in high school or middle school at the time something like this had happened. But if they lived in the Charlotte area, no doubt they remember that day clear as can be when this happened and shook the Niner Nation community. As we take a look at people walking up to that wreath there that's outside the Kennedy building. Again, the place where 2 people were killed, 4 others were hurt after the gunman opened fire that day. Is our Richard Devane there? Do I hear Richard?
Yes, those are family members. Yes, Ben, those are family members.
Richard, of course, was covering that story for us this morning and telling us about the events the university had planned for the day there. As you say, you can see a number of people with the university over at the site for the wreath that was laid this morning, remembering those victims 6 years ago today when that shooting happened, injuring 4, killing 2 on the campus of UNC Charlotte.
We are going to keep our eye on that memorial as it unfolds, and we'll check back in as news warrants. But first, let's go ahead and turn it back over to a check of your morning traffic with Becca.
Good morning, guys. We are taking a live look outside from I-77 at Gold Hill Road over towards York County. Northbound lanes just a little bit congested due to that extra traffic and, of course, that heavier flow of traffic over towards South Charlotte. This is a live look outside from I-77 at Tybola Road, and it is a bumper to bumper as you head to Uptown Charlotte. Got several incidents out there in problem spots, especially this one in Ballantyne, impacting the inner loop of I-45 near Johnston Road. Currently has at least one lane of traffic blocked off due to that crash and still causing some pretty significant delays there. Also, Providence Road, another crash being reported at Shoreham Drive, and that crash is in the intersection right there. Then Alumni Way, this is a crash being reported at W.T. Harris Boulevard. Not saying this caused any significant slowdowns in and around the area, but you'll want to take it slow and easy out there. Back to you guys.
Becca, thanks. 8:40 right now on WCNC Plus. And new this morning, we are learning that South Carolina's Limestone University will close. The Board of Trustees made that decision last night at a meeting. Officials say the school just could not get the $6 million it needed to stay open for the fall. In an email to students, the board says, while the outcome not what we hoped for, we are forever grateful for the passion, loyalty, and prayers of the Saints family. The closure impacts both in-person and online classes. Graduation ceremonies will still be held this Saturday. Well, the closing comes as more universities face potential funding cuts.
Now, local organizations are stepping in, helping students go to college. WCNC Charlotte's Siobhan Raleigh shows us how it is answering the question, where's the money for students?
UNC Charlotte freshman Antonio Brown is one of many college students worried about how to pay for school. Money is tight for he and his family.
My mom has to work 2 to 3 jobs to make sure we keep everything afloat. So having to put some extra money on the side for her would have been more pressure and would have took me longer to get into college.
Greater Step Scholars made it possible for Brown to receive a college scholarship. The organization provides scholarships and mentors for low-income students. During a time when government grants and loans are in jeopardy, every little bit helps. What does the scholarship mean to you?
The scholarship means that it's like a second home to me, a second family I can go to.
Workshops and trainings.
Asia Struthers is the program's executive director. She says students can receive up to $7,400 a year, depending on their financial situation.
Our scholarship is, hopefully getting them to a point where they don't have to take out student loans and that they're able to manage the finances. So they don't have to leave school, graduate, and have a burden of paying back all these student loans.
A Pew study finds half of Black and 40% of Hispanic or Latino borrowers have had a loan default compared to 29% of white borrowers. Although anyone can apply for the scholarship depending on where they live, Strother says most of the students who apply are African American and Latino.
It is not easy.
For Brown, who's studying electrical mechanical engineering, college is about more than getting a degree. It's about providing for his family.
First thing that came to my mind was, wow, I'm going to college for real. And I immediately told my mom, my siblings, even my grandma, and she was ecstatic.
Making his family proud. And Greater Step Scholars is hosting a gala Thursday from 6:30 to 10 o'clock. To find out how you can register, visit our website at WCNC.com. Reporting from UNC Charlotte, Siobhan Riley, WCNC Charlotte.
Time now 8:43. Charlotte's coffee scene buzzing with a new trend that's bringing together coffee enthusiasts. The Charlotte Coffee Club, creating a community one cup at a time.
Beyond connecting over a cup of joe, it's also helping give back to those in need. WCNC Charlotte's Miles Harris joins us live this morning with those details. Miles.
Yeah, good morning, Lisa and Ben. Yeah, who would have thought that coffee would be the reason that hundreds of people within Charlotte are meeting each month to connect, to socialize, but to also give back to our community?
What better way to bring people together than with something that helps get your day going? Coffee. And this cup of joe comes with a key ingredient: support.
But it's for anybody who wants to give back to the community but also make friends.
Charlotte Coffee Club is one of the latest social clubs in the Queen City, and it's picking up steam. Phil Reed is one of the co-founders and takes pride in the fact that they're hitting two birds with one stone, building the community while also serving it too.
We have about 100 people build sandwiches. Again, we send those sandwiches to Roof Above just to help out with their food need. And then we also build snack bags. And then with those snack bags, we hand it out to our volunteers and ask them to pass it out at any stoplight or stop sign where they do see someone who's unhoused. So they do have a little bit of like food and some treats for their the rest of their day.
Coffee Club started with a group of just 12 people and has now grown to nearly 300, building a sense of community, one cup at a time.
We like coffee because we feel like it's just genuine, authentic conversation that you're able to have with people. And then also, like, it just seems like it's people who want to just have a good heart and want to see and give to people who like can't give back to them.
Phil went also on to tell me that the Coffee Club is really for anybody throughout Charlotte. Now, as far as their next meetup, they're actually going to have a meetup here at Resident Culture next Saturday, where they're going to have what they're calling a nonprofit fair, where they're going to have their volunteers, some of their members as far as that Coffee Club. They're going to be able to meet with other nonprofits throughout Charlotte so they can get a better idea and better information on really how to serve the community beyond just the Coffee Club. Now, we also have that information and more about the Charlotte Coffee Club on our app and on our website. Just head to either one of those and being sure to click on this story. But Ben and Lisa, what an awesome story, what an awesome concept, what an awesome idea to be able to enjoy some coffee, but also to give back to our community as well.
Yeah, because maybe everybody loves coffee, whether it's, you know, a regular coffee, black coffee, or a frappuccino of some sort, but combine that with helping others and it's win-win.
For sure. Even if you drink tea, I'm sure they will not exclude you if you are a tea drinker, not a coffee drinker. Building community. All right, Miles, thanks for that. This morning, cleanup crews are finally taking a break after hundreds of thousands of dimes scattered across a Texas highway. Take a look at this. Drivers actually paid the price after a semi-truck carrying loose change tipped over. Fire crews say the 18-wheeler was carrying $800,000 in dimes when it overturned around 5:30 yesterday morning. Now, if you do the math, that's around 8 million dimes. Ooh. 2 people in the truck were taken to the hospital. They are expected to be okay. The crew spent 14 hours picking up millions of dimes that spilled onto the side of the highway. They used a lot of things, vacuums, rakes. They even got down and picked them up by hand. In total, they say they were able to pick up about $80,000 worth.
Tedious.
Right?
I mean, tedious.
They're the smallest of the coins.
I know.
So many of them.
I've got fat little fingers. It would take me forever.
All right. Well, since the year 2000, there have been 192 deaths along the Carolina coast due to rip currents.
And this week is all about raising our awareness to rip currents and the dangers they can pose. That's why WCNC Charlotte meteorologist Brittany Van Voorhees is raising our weather IQ this morning.
Rip currents are the #1 weather-related killer in the coastal Carolinas. So how do you keep you and your family safe during a beach trip? Let's raise your weather IQ. First, educate yourself on rip currents and what they are. A rip current is a narrow channel of fast-moving water that can reach speeds up to 8 feet per second. That's faster than an Olympic swimmer. Now, you might be rolling your eyes. Brittany, I'm from the Carolinas. I got this. Unfortunately, that might not be the case. Data shows only 20% of rip current deaths along the Carolina coastlines are from people who actually live there. The other 80% come from inland residents, including portions of North and South Carolina. Eric Hayden is the warning coordination meteorologist at the National Weather Service in Morehead City. He says to swim parallel to the shore until you get away from the rip current.
Rip currents don't pull you under. They're very narrow. They pull you out, and your natural reaction is to try to fight and go back towards shore.
But that fight can wear you out and eventually cause you to drown. If you can't swim, there's also the option to float on your back until help arrives. And don't let a nice day fool you. It is almost impossible to see a rip current unless you're elevated above the water.
Rip currents are different. They can occur on really nice beach days. The winds can be light, can be sunny out, no thunderstorms, perfect to get out in the water.
The Carolina coast is also unique since part of it juts out into the ocean. This means we are impacted by storms well offshore.
It doesn't have to be a hurricane making a direct impact on our area. That swell reaches the coastline, and we've seen that usually a handful of times each year.
The key is knowing before you go. Check the forecast, adhere to beach warning flags, and if possible, only swim at beaches where a lifeguard is present. With your weather IQ, I'm meteorologist Brittany Van Voorhees.
Again, even if you're the best swimmer, it matters, because what people don't realize is in the moment, for lack of a better term, you freak out.
Yeah.
Because
Panic,
it's
anxiety,
scary.
yeah.
And then you're not thinking clearly. Then you're not thinking, oh, I need to swim with the shoreline
and remain calm.
Yeah, you can't. It doesn't happen like that, unfortunately.
And I think that's the mentality you have to have when you go to the beach, because a lot of times people aren't going to think that. Just say it's like, hey, that flag is out. There's a chance for rip currents, and then just remind yourself what Brittany just taught us, and that'll make an even better beach day. Or if you're worried about it, just build a sandcastle.
You know, honestly, I mean, everybody enjoys their own thing. But honestly, when I go to the beach, I probably don't get much further in than say you're like right here or something.
I didn't even go that far.
I was gonna say, are you a knee guy?
Yeah.
Right, after that, because for me, I'm just lazy and it becomes a lot of work, and you're and you're swimming, and I don't want to do that when I'm on vacation.
Well, if you do have small children, going anywhere with a lifeguard around,
we are knee people once we have kids. I mean, you just don't want to risk it.
That's right. Not to mention what critters might be underneath that you might bump into.
All right.
It happens.
Yeah, this doesn't surprise you. I'm a tackle the wave guy.
I appreciate
you understand that.
Enthusiasm.
Oh, absolutely. Kim is more of a knee person too.
Yeah.
So you enjoy that. Today we are looking at a great forecast across the Carolinas and a low to moderate rip current. That is pretty typical. As Brittany mentioned, it's really the topography and the way that North Carolina sticks its derriere out into the Atlantic that we will have the perfect recipe for some rip currents. So it's usually a little bit higher or a moderate level compared to the other areas right here from Morehead City and the Outer Banks, and also Myrtle Beach has the same type of issue there as well. It is almost May, or as Justin would say, gonna be May. The last time I'm gonna do it, I promise. 88 degrees was the top. 35 was the bottom, so what a difference from our high to low for the extreme of April. But the biggest deal, an average of 66 degrees. Yeah, that's the warmest I've ever had. The 57th driest isn't really a fun or fancy stat, but here's the top list. The warmest April dating back to 1879, not too long ago. That was back in 2017. Well, we beat it by 0.6, and if you factor in all the days for a month, that is a big time gain. So that by far we took over the top spot. Here are my forecast notes, what I do each and every morning. Cold front was trending slower. It didn't like that. That was a lot of disappointment in the weather category, just because a slow moving front means that it's going to last longer, and it's also affecting the timing for our Saturday, which is now a likelihood that we have some sort of rain. The timing is either morning to afternoon or afternoon to evening. I'll get to that. But above average temperatures by far. We are in the upper 80s, and we're also breezy each and every day. Sometimes when you have a strong push of winds out of the southwest, I think wind gusts at least getting to 20 miles per hour each and every afternoon going into the weekend. That allows an extra drive. It's the southwest direction that always maximizes our warm-up. And looking at your Guy Roofing 70 forecast, I'm getting to this first because I really want to show you where temperatures go. We have 80 degrees on Saturday, likely chance for rain, but behind that front, we cool down a little bit, but then rain chances still last. That's interesting. Usually don't have a forecast like this, but Saturday stands out from all the rest just because of the setup. It's the only day that has an actual front that drives everything up. You can still have a nearby front that has enough lift in the right environment to have scattered showers and storms like we see here in the northern part of North Carolina around the I-40 corridor. I will mention that overnight tonight we could have a stray shower that sneaks down towards the south. Have that 7-day forecast get back in here. But then we're going to have an on and off shower activity really through your Thursday heading into Friday. Now, the big deal that I'm looking at is what is going to happen beyond this, and that's going to be for your Saturday. I keep on mentioning that front that's going to push through the area. Well, that front is going to have a possibility of bringing some rain, but the timing is all over the place. So I'm not low confidence about, hey, is it going to rain? No, that's absolutely going to happen, but it's about the when. This model showing that's more of a Saturday morning into the afternoon with some hope as we work our way into the overnight hours, so maybe you will clear out just in time for Pitbull. Now, Model 2, Pitbull, I'm talking about the Love and Life Festival, by the way. Model 2, not a good scenario. This actually brings a dry morning, widespread rain for the afternoon, widespread evening, and then it parks itself, bringing rain for the entirety of the weekend. Now, it's great for our drought status, but not great if you have any outdoor weekend plans. Becca, how's traffic looking? Hopefully it's better than it was?
Beginning to calm calm down out there as rush hour traffic starts to come to an end, but do want to take you up towards Cornelius, I-77 northbound. This is where we do have that disabled vehicle that is partially blocking that toll lane over there. So if you are traveling around there, just keep that in mind. Likely one lane of traffic is partially blocked off with that. In addition, towards East Charlotte, we've got a new crash. This is on the Plaza extension after W.T. Harris Boulevard, and it currently has one lane of traffic blocked off. You can see the delays associated with that, again, as only one lane of traffic is open. Also got a disabled vehicle. This is on outbound Brookshire Boulevard at Center Street just before I-85. Also has one lane of traffic blocked off. 77 northbound is still slow over in South Charlotte all the way through about Uptown. Also the inner loop of I-45 towards the Ballantyne area. That is an area that you'll want to avoid.
All right, thanks, Becca. Well, we are going to take a quick break, but you keep it right here on WCNC Plus. We'll have another check of weather and traffic on the broadcast site in just 2 minutes. And then our own Jane Mariel is going to take over from our new Impact studio, still here on WCNC Plus. They'll be talking about wildfire preparedness. Jane will have all the live breaking events as they happen from across our area and across the nation, right here and only on WCNC Plus.
What a difference a day makes. 79 yesterday, didn't quite make it to 80 degrees in Charlotte. 88 today. I think we're mainly hanging out in the mid 80s. 88 is just going to be the top temperature across the area, so expect the low to the mid 80s most of the PM hours. Low temperatures tonight, very mild, only dropping down into the mid 60s tomorrow morning, Friday and Saturday morning, and then back to the 50s Sunday into next week. Our Guy Ravens 7-day forecast showing a 20% chance for rain over the next 3 days. That's an isolated shower at best, and then heading into Saturday. Saturday we could have widespread rain at times on and off through the afternoon and the evening, ending by Sunday morning. Becca, what's going on traffic-wise?
Chris, I am following this disabled vehicle on I-77 northbound in Cornelius. It is partially blocking one lane of traffic, but it's just impacting the toll lanes, and it does look like some sort of NCDOT camera or NCDOT worker has showed up to the scene and is also blocking, again, one lane of traffic. Also towards Ballantyne area, still got this active crash that you'll want to avoid. That is the inner loop of I-45 near Johnson Road.